Welcome back to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Eliances, visit www.Eliances.com. Now, back to our super host, David Kogan, founder of Eliances.
I mean, can you believe the way the show is? We had the CEO of eBates.com on, and we had the CNN entertainment reporter, Spotify ambassador, Shannon Cook. It just keeps getting better, and later on in the show, we're going to have the co-founder of Ace Comic-Con. That's where all the heroes from all the amazing shows and movies that are out there come together in one place. But it just gets better. And by the way, thank you for the feedback we continue to have from when I interviewed Richard Branson. So make sure you go to Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com. It is the only place where entrepreneurs align. Our next hero, he can fly. No, I kid you not. Literally, he could fly. This is the first time I've ever interviewed and met someone that can fly. He is the chief test pilot and founder of Gravity Industries, pioneering aeronautical innovation company. We have Richard Browning. You can reach him at gravity.co. Okay, Richard, when I'm saying flying, they think you fly a plane, a jet. I mean, who knows, maybe even a space shuttle or something like that. Why don't you explain how you actually have these powers to fly?
Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. We've got probably one of the most raw, intimate, genuine forms of human flight now. It's a jet suit. It's 1,000 horsepower of microjet engines attached to your arms and your body, and using that good old human balance and control system we're all born with, you can fly around in a way that's almost like that dream most of us have had at some point.
But it's amazing of it, and people have got to see the video that you have. Again, make sure you go to gravity.co, and of course, we'll have it on our website, Eliances.com. But it's phenomenal. How long did it take you to create this? Really, what it is a jet suit. So to describe it for our listeners, you put this on and you just fly around. But how long did it take you to create this so that you can actually use it to fly?
Yeah, slightly peculiarly. I had a somewhat normal career in the City of London, actually as a commodity trader for 16 years. But I've always had I suppose, an affliction for interesting challenges. So I joined the UK Royal Marines Reserve for some 6 years. I set up a startup alongside my day job. I've done all sorts of things that I've looked at and thought, wow, that looks fun. I wonder if I could do that. And most of the time, it turns out I can't. But every now and then, a project really goes better than I imagined. And this was one of them. I started in around March 2016 with this vision of, trying to employ the human mind and body in a more integrated way to achieve that age-old human dream of flight. Rather than putting a human inside a flight machine like a helicopter or an airplane, I just had this idea that, maybe there's a different novel way of doing it. And, there's a TED Talk I did back in 2017 in Vancouver on the whole thing. You can see the very basic steps that we started with in March 2016. And it really consisted of starting with one little microjet engine on my arm, and realizing that little device that was only weighed about 5 pounds, but was putting out 50 pounds of thrust. It was so compelling and yet so calm in a very strange way. It was a very gentle kind of push that I thought, you know what, we just need more of these, and the right place is set up in the right way. And some 8-9 months later, through trying hundreds of different iterations, all in evenings and weekends, if I'm really honest, we got to the point of the first flight. And then since then, it's just been a question of constantly enhancing it and sharing it with the world. We've now done 65 live flight events in 21 countries, largely thanks to the fact that it all packs down into 2 check-in suitcases, bizarrely enough. And so you can turn up anywhere in the world, go flying.
Oh, my God. I want to fly. We have, again, you're listening to me, David Kogan, host of the Eliances Hero Show. Make sure you go to Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com, the only place where entrepreneurs align, because we've got Richard Browning, the only place where you can go and actually fly. He is the founder and CEO of Gravity. Reach him at gravity.co. All right, Richard, talk to me about the sensation and the feeling of actually flying and your first flight using the jet suit, where you're literally flying. And again, listeners, you're flying up in the air. There's no cord attached to you from the bottom. There's no water pumping out that, shoots you up. you're flying around there. Talk to us about the sensation and the feel, because, Richard, you're one of the few people on Earth that have been able to do this.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been an incredible journey, and we're only really just at the beginning of it. But yeah, the very first flight, I'm sure we can share with you guys the footage of that. And it's in that TED Talk clip, you can see them online. The very first flight was in a kind of autumn, murky UK farmyard kind of evening when we'd finally got everything together. We'd tried countless different iterations, and the original prototype that allowed me to do the very first flight was only about 6 seconds, but I had an engine on each leg and 2 on each arm, and just about managed to hold it all together and achieve that flight. And from there, it's just been a question of constantly enhancing it. But the sensation, I mean, gosh, it's actually quite hard to describe. Despite the 1,000 horsepower of absolute kind of violence in some ways that you observe as a bystander, I mean, it is louder than a civil airliner when you're flying it in front of an audience. It is brutal, and the effect is just profound on people. But when you're in the middle of it, it's like being at the eye of the storm. It's absolutely calm and tranquil and just joyous. You can genuinely think where you want to go in three-dimensional space, and you go there. I'd say an analogy would be a bicycle, yeah? You don't read many books on how to ride a bicycle. You just kind of feel it. And after not very long, usually, it just becomes part of you. You just think where you want to go, and you don't think consciously about steering it. You just go there. This is very much the same, but in 3 dimensions. So after a busy day filming with this on, I actually have to kind of retune my brain to realize I can't now move in 3-dimensional space. It is a pure sensation of joyous freedom.
Richard, I got to call you Iron Man. You're the real Iron Man, being able to develop this. We had a number of questions come in too from our listeners. One is, will it be commercialized, and is it for public or military or both?
Yeah, so we sold a couple already. We sold a copy of the prototype for $250,000 last year, and we sold the last one of our current suits for $440,000 to a guy in New York, actually. But our main business is not really selling jet suits. I mean, we sell them to kind of the right discerning customers that, are going to be part of our community. We sell the flight experiences, so you can go for a day and actually, in a safe, controlled, tethered way, get that unique experience of what it's like to be at the center of this and learn to fly it. But really, having done all these events all over the world, what's really struck us has been the ability for this to wow audiences. I mean, hey, I'm British, I don't blow my own trumpet here, but the effect has been consistent. People are almost left changed by by live witnessing what it's like to see a human being fly around. It looks like it's, indeed from a Marvel film, but it's not. It's real, and we've made that science fiction a reality. And what better way of bringing that to an audience than actually building a race series? So rather than just one person, or I've got several other pilots now, rather than just us demonstrating this, why not actually have a race series that tours the world flying over water, so you are eliminating that slight risk of a failure, causing somebody an injury, and gather athletes from the 4 corners of the planet from other different disciplines like athletics or gymnastics or rock climbing or dirt bike jumping or whatever, and go race these things. I mean, that, for me, I can't think of a better way of exploiting this technology, but also enhancing it as well, constantly developing it.
Where did the funding come from?
Yeah, I'm pretty cheap. I defer to either the clips we can share with you or the original TED Talk that I did, and I've done 4 of them now, but the original TED 2017 Vancouver one, as you can see in those clips, I just repurposed and modified and just kind of bootstrapped the thing. I won't really declare how much I spent to get the first flight, but it was not very much at all. I did things like ripping the drill triggers out of hammer drills. The trigger out of an electric drill.
Yes.
I used that as the throttle trigger because I had one knocking around my lab, and I thought, I'll just go and use that, and it turned out to be perfect, and we still use them now. I have very much a strong ethos of building and making do with what we can get hold of, and then getting out the same day and going and testing and doing all that learning immediately, rather than sticking with a desk study and spending a fortune on trying to purpose build stuff. So really, to get the first one going didn't cost much at all. But then there's a funny story about my first VC round, first and only VC round, really. I on the way to go and do TED 2017, Chris Anderson, personally reached out, which is very touching because I love TED. And we were on the way to go and do that. But then a certain Adam Draper from Boost VC down in California said, hey, please come and just do a quick demo in our car park at one of our open days. And I thought, you know what, I didn't know much about Boost VC or Adam. But I thought it'd be a great way of testing the equipment before going and potentially falling over in front of Richard Branson, Al Gore, and the whole TED crowd. So I did the flight down there, and Tim Draper and Adam Draper were there, and a bunch of VCs, and both of them then were so taken aback and seemingly impressed by what we did. Tim pulled out a $100 bill, handed it to me, and said, "That's my first revenue," because I cleared out his parking lot. That was the funny bit. And then he wrote on that $100 bill, how about $650,000 for 10% of the company I just formed only a few weeks earlier? And I said yes. And so Tim and Adam Draper own a percentage of the company. And that was the first and last round. Since then, we've generated over $1.5 million from all the events and selling equipment and stuff. So it's going pretty well as a startup, even though we're only 18 months old.
Absolutely incredible. We've got a little less than a minute left, but I need to ask you, what type of secret advice do you have for children on their path to try and invent and create something that one can really only dream about that hasn't ever been in existence like you have done?
Yeah, I think there's a really important little ethos buried in this, which is sort of hard fought for, and especially leaning back on my corporate, 16 years in a big company, I know how hard it is to innovate in that kind of environment. But I think the methodology we've employed is this, you've got to take some risk to do anything new. But there's a key rule, right? What is the worst-case scenario if that risk ends up playing out badly? Because we spend most of our time failing, frankly, to get to where we've got to. But we fail in a way where we quickly assess what's the worst that's going to happen from a safety point of view, from a reputation point of view, and from a financial point of view. If we can't get back up from failing and it going wrong, and I mean physically because you've fallen from too high, or you run out of money because you spent too much on one particular idea, or you've upset somebody and gone to prison as a worst-case scenario in the reputation bucket, it's stupid. You can't get back up again and try again. As long as you cover off those three rules, and this applies to whether you're a kid or a corporate executive, I think that's how you make rapid advances. As I say, we spend most of our time trying things and failing here.
Richard, phenomenal advice. Thank you so much. You defy gravity with your inventions and continue to bring wonder to everyone. Richard Browning, I call him Ironman, the real Ironman, the guy who could fly. Reach him at gravity.co. This has been David Kogan with Eliances.